Schools will reopen in phases in Singapore from the 2nd of June, with priority given to certain groups of students, like those taking national exams this year. More safe distancing measures will also be in place. From the 2nd of June, Term 3 will start for students from the primary to junior college levels, but not all of them will head straight to campus. Only graduating cohorts in primary 6 and secondary 4 and 5 will be in school from Monday to Friday every week. Other levels will do weekly rotations between home-based and classroom learning. K1 and K2 students in preschools may also return from the 2nd of June. Nursery 1 and 2 students will return from the 8th of June, while infant care and playgroup will resume on the 10th of June. Now for more on this, Gwyneth Teo joins us. Gwyneth, can you tell us what's the rationale for staggering students' return to school and why certain groups get to go back first?
Well, I think in terms of priority, the priority is clearly being given to graduating cohorts. So as you said, primary 6, secondary 4 and secondary 5 students will return back to school fully because they do need that support as they're taking national examinations this year, as well as those students who have a higher level of need. So for special education needs students, they will also come back fully by 8th of June. And for other batches, for example, primary 1 to 5 or Sec 1 to Sec 3 students, they will also they will take on that weekly rotation schedule. So for 1 week, they will be at home doing home-based learning, and for the other week, they will be back in school. And that will be sort of the same also for institutes of technical education students. They will return to school mostly for physical classes such as lab sessions. But overall, the reason for this is to reduce the number of students who are physically present in schools so as to enhance safe distancing practices. And also the idea is to support the return back to work, especially for parents with children who need extra support, such as special education needs supports, and also to ensure that they have childcare support while they return back to workplaces. And he did mention, Minister for Education Ong Ye Kung also did mention that actually the Education Ministry considered a daily rotation schedule for some of these classes, but they realized that a lot of workplaces are practicing a weekly rotation for work from home. So this will better match that kind of schedule that parents, most working parents are having. But even as they all return to school, schools will look a little bit different. For example, they're expected to put in safe distancing measures such as examination style row seating rather than in groups. And also to put in more sanitizing of high-touch areas, temperature screening, all this sort of things. And also preschools are expected to receive extra support. So there will be distribution of free sanitizers and face shields to protect students and staff. There will be staggered pickup and drop-off timings. And there is also an 80% subsidy being offered for preschools to take on new technologies such as databases for temperature-taking measures. And part of all these is also an ongoing swabbing of preschool teachers. We know that 2 days ago, it was said that 6,000 preschool teachers have already gone through this swabbing. We're expected that the entire cohort of 30,000 teachers will complete this by the end of May. And this is to ensure that all of them are fully swabbed by the 2nd of June when preschools reopen, so that they can pick up anybody who is positive, any staff who are positive with COVID-19, and centers can rearrange their manpower needs as they need. But the Social and Family Development Minister Desmond Lee also did clarify during the press conference that out of all the teachers swabbed so far over the past few days, none of them have tested positive for COVID-19, although the task force is expecting to find a few teachers here and there to test positive for the virus.
The rotation, going back to school on this rotational basis, will learning be disrupted or affected?
So there is one aspect where learning may be, not disrupted, but there is one element that may be a little bit changed. So for the mid-year national examinations that are coming up, so for example, the O and A-level mother tongue examinations that are taking place in the middle of the year, candidates will be required to wear masks. That's one thing. But if they are under quarantine, leave of absence or stay home notice, they will not be allowed to sit for the exam. They have to wait for the year exam instead. Another impact on students that the entire virus is having is that there will be no NAPFA test this year. This is a national scheme for measuring fitness proficiency in students, nor will there be the national school games. So I think school athletes, especially in graduating cohorts, may find this a bit of a disappointment. But overall, I think in terms of how learning is being affected and how schools are being affected, Education Minister Ong Ye Kung actually referenced some studies from other countries that have found that schools have been disrupted as well. And he said that actually he was confident that in Singapore, impact on learning may not be as affected because by and large, students have adapted to home-based learning quite well.
I think there's a lot of awareness, a lot of literature talking about the detrimental effect of students and children as a result of this closure in schools, and some go to the extent of saying it may even set them back for many years. Fortunately for us, we ensure that learning continue through home-based learning. And throughout this whole period, we managed to ensure that schools are safe and students are kept away from the virus.
And we've been speaking with Gwyneth Teo there.